What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you not to be out here buck dancing for these white bigots and white conservatives, but you did it anyway, and now the ultimate white supremacist is out here calling you a token, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, very interesting news has come up this week where we have hardcore ultra white supremacist Nick Fuentes going in on one of the greatest shills and one of the greatest bootlicks in TV history, Jason Whitlock. We basically have a young white male going in on one of these conservative coons that we see festering in social media and in mainstream media. And let me preface this video before I get started, because I already know there's going to be some people in the comment section just waiting to type. In this video, I'm going to call Nick Fuentes a white man, because that's what he is. Yes, I understand that he's Mexican. Yes, I understand that his last name is Fuentes. He is a white man. He is a Caucasian. Okay? Mexican is not a race. Mexican is a nationality. All right? There are black Mexicans, there are white Mexicans, and there are Tejano Mexicans. There are mixed Mexicans. Nick Fuentes is a white man. All right? The comedian Louis C.K. is Mexican. I don't know if any of you knew that. He is Mexican. He was born in Mexico. He said he spoke Spanish for most of the beginning of his life. All right? He is a white man. All right? The same way here in America, there are white people who are Americans. There are black people who are Americans. Mexican is not a race. All right? So don't get confused when I call Nick Fuentes a white man, and don't start trying to correct me in the comment section saying he's not white, he's Mexican. He's a white man. All right? And there are white supremacists all through Mexico and South America and Central America. I've talked about it before. I've also explained to you that Spain is a European country where many white supremacists come from. They founded their colonies here in the United States based on white supremacy. All right? So Nick Fuentes' mindset is not that foreign. All right? It's not that out of the blue. You had Spanish conquistadors who also had Spanish last names, who were white men who were just as racist and white supremacist as he is. And they still exist down there in South America and all through Mexico and Central America as well. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about Nick Fuentes and Jason Shitlock. You know, I call him Shitlock sometimes because, in my opinion, he looks like the poop emoji that you find on all your social media devices. But Jason was getting cooked by Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes was going in. And let me explain to you how this all started before, because I'm going to play some of the audio of what Nick Fuentes actually said to Jason Whitlock and to a lot of these other conservative coons out here. But let me explain to you how this got started, because this is interesting in how it started, and a lot of people have missed this part of it. This all started because Jason Whitlock is out here trying to run interference based on the situation where a high school age black male stabbed a high school age white male. And I will get to that story at some other time, but not at this moment. But Jason Whitlock is doing his typical nonsense out there, trying to make it seem like it's not about race. And, you know, he does his typical, it's all black culture. You know, always blaming things on black culture, right? And like me, apparently Nick Fuentes was tired of that. Nick Fuentes is tired of these black conservatives coming out here talking about everything needs to be blamed on black culture. Now, we have two different reasons why, okay? Because when I talk about the black culture argument, I'm talking about it as it's a bullshit. But Nick Fuentes is upset because he thinks that the whole black culture argument is an excuse. He's saying that the reason black people are bad is because their race is bad. And we need to just come out and admit that. That's why he says, in his justification, he says that's the reason why when black people listen to rap music, they go out there and break into cars and shoot each other. It's because black people are bad. He said black people across the globe are bad people. This is what I mean. Nick Fuentes is a hardcore, open white supremacist, and I appreciate that. I don't appreciate him, but I appreciate his honesty. Okay, because he just comes out and says it. He doesn't mince words with the way he feels about black people. And he was pissed off that people like Jason Whitlock and some of these other coon conservatives who get their marching orders from these white bigots and their main conservative, Thomas Sowell, who tells them that everything that's wrong with black people is black culture. And Nick Fuentes even called it out, saying that that's the conservative ploy, is to blame everything bad about black people on black culture and not just come out and admit that black people are evil and bad all unto themselves, and that is their race that makes them bad. So that's what started this whole thing. And Jason Whitlock, like the coward that he is, because he's a paid shill and he's not allowed to criticize or attack white males, he decided to comment on it, but not in a way that would criticize Nick Fuentes. He tried his best to duck, dodge, and ignore what he said. So that pissed Nick Fuentes off even more, and Nick Fuentes decided to make a whole video, and we're going to listen to the audio about what he said right here. So let's take a look and listen, and I'll give you my commentary as we go through. This is priceless right here. This is priceless. Nick Fuentes pulls Jason Whitlock's card, and all these black conservatives out there. This includes your boy, Anton Daniels, Charleston White, the Hodge twins, Candace Owens. This is for all of them. What he says, sad to say, this devil is telling the truth right now. He's telling the exact truth about how these black conservatives get down. So let's listen to what he says here.
By the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white. So there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows. And everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy.
That's wild right there. That's wild right there. He said the blacks in the conservative sector have had it easy. And they haven't really had it easy, but they're like dogs. They're like pets or whatever. They just parrot and bark whatever their masters say. So they haven't really had it easy, but they just been out there doing what their master says. That's what they're there for. Like Nick Fuentes says, they're there to give white people cover. They're there to give white bigots cover. That's why they say all the things that a white bigot would normally say. That's why I call them the bigot-proof vest. That's why I gave them that name, because that's what they're there for. They act as a vest for these real white bigots out here. And, the black person takes all the shots, and the black conservative takes all of the blame, and he gets to just say whatever he wants, and is basically just regurgitating what his white master tells him to say. All right? So let's listen a little bit more of what Nick Fuentes has to say here, because he goes in even more. And it was funny to me. When I first heard this, I was dying laughing because, sad to say, he's absolutely right. But he's saying that there are people in conservative circles who are tired of these Negroes. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Okay? There are some conservatives out there who like to use these Negroes, but they know what they're there for. These Negroes are there just to push their agendas and be able to attack black people and not get in trouble themselves. They just go ahead and regurgitate whatever these white bigots say. This includes a lot of the Negroes that you got here on social media, or even the ones in mainstream media like Stephen A. Smith, your boy Brandon Tatum. All you Negroes are just tools of white supremacy, and you got a full-on white supremacist calling you out for it. That's hilarious. So let's listen to some more of what this devil has to say. He's having a rare moment where he's actually speaking the truth. So let's listen to what he has to say here more about Jason Whitlock. Let's listen.
You are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer. Look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility.
Ooh, he's hitting them. He's hitting them hard, ain't he? he's burning the Pillsbury turd boy so hard it's starting to smell like chitlins in here. He's cooking the hell out of this boy right now. But yeah, he's right. He's right. And yeah, Jason Whitlock, you black conservatives out there, Anton Daniels, Charleston White, all you Negroes need to look around you and be thankful that all that you have is simply based on the fact that white people want to use you as a mouthpiece. That's how you got where you are. That is the only reason you are as famous and as popular as you are. Okay? That's it. That's what I always wonder about these Negroes too, is the fact that, you know, they might have possessions or money or whatever, but I wonder in their darkest moments when they're sitting there by themselves, do they realize how they gained that? And I wonder how their soul actually feels when they realize that they basically sold out their own people and their own children and their own future just to get a spot up under white folks and just to have some popularity for a short amount of time under white folks. Because it's all fleeting. As I always say, there is no retirement plan for being a coon. There is no pension plan for being a bootlick. Eventually that shit burns out at some point. Like I said before, it's like rocket fuel. It burns real fast. It's real hot. It'll get you into orbit, but you cannot maintain that orbit for too long. Okay? So, you know, Jason Whitlock responded to what Nick Fuentes had to say, and his response was so bitch made. I was depressed for him for a little bit. Not really, but you know, I just felt bad. It's like, you know, you talk so much trash about black people, you act real big, bad, and tough around black people, but as soon as this little punk ass white boy, this little fuck boy Fuentes says something about you, you're soft as doctor's cotton. You're soft as a damn marshmallow. Soft as a wet turd, which is what you are. So when the white boy pushes up on you and challenges you and pulls your card, now you don't have anything to say and you come out with a whole bunch of word salad and you do your best not to attack this white male and to attack white people in general in your response. Let me read to you what bitch made Whitlock said. He said, "I don't care what Nick Fuentes has to say about me." Sure you do, Negro. Sure you do. He's your white master. You can't care. You have to just take that. That's what a good slave does. A good slave takes a whipping and keeps on ticking. But here's what he says. He says, "He can call me any name in the book. I don't care what anyone says about me. This isn't me talking tough. This isn't me saying I have the thickest skin in the world. This is me submitting to my irrelevance and my lack of importance." So he's playing that one. He's playing like, you know, I'm not that important. Why is everyone focused on me? Nonsense. Bullshit. This is bullshit is what he's doing here. Once again, this white boy pulled his card. He has nothing to say. Let's listen to some more of his response. So he also says this. "So when you hear me say, and I say it pretty consistently, I don't care if people are racist. We know that, Jason. We know if you don't care if people are racist. And he says people can say whatever they want about black people. I don't care. So for all you folks out there that support Jason Whitlock, a lot of you Negroes, just know he's saying that whatever anyone says about black people, he doesn't care. He says people can say whatever they want about black people. I don't care. They're not important. You see that? That's his exact quote. You're seeing it here on the screen for yourself. People can say whatever they want about black people. I don't care. They're not important. And he says what triggers me is when people lie on Jesus. Negro, you are a sad sack of shit. I gotta say. And he says, and what really triggers me is when people lie on Jesus and use something I said to tell that lie. That is what triggers me. Is that what Nick Fuentes was doing, was lying on Jesus? No, he was talking about you, dirtbag. He was talking straight to you and to your other black conservative coons out here. That's who he was talking about. But you're such a punk and such a little weasel, you don't even want to confront him. You don't even want to answer to what he has to say. And really, you can't. Your paymasters have told you can't answer that legitimately, or else you're going to lose your job. And they're going to just find another dirtbag, low-life Negro to take your spot. Right? So you just got to take that on the chin for right now. You got to let this little white boy whip out his cocktail shrimp and rub it on your forehead. Okay? You just have to take that. And once again, this does not just apply to Jason Whitlock. This applies to all you black conservatives out there. And truth be told, it applies to you black liberals too. Any of you out here who are buck dancing for the Democrats or the Democratic Party, because there's a lot of you out there too that take the slings and arrows for your liberal masters. You're just as bad and just as guilty of this as they are. But they're just so blatant and so over the top with it, it's easy to point out how buffoonish and coonish and bootlickish that black conservatives are. But black liberals do the same thing. They attack black people. Every election cycle that comes around, you'll see these black liberals out here like Roland Martin, scoop ball-headed Simone Sanders out here attacking black people and saying you need to get in line, Negroes, and vote for whatever politician we throw in front of you, right? So it's no different from either side. All these fools, all these buffoons are tokens who just care about their job. They don't care about black people at all. I'm glad that Jason Whitlock admitted it, that he says I don't care what people say about black people, and black people are not important. I'm glad he said that. I'm glad he just said it out loud. And I'm glad that this little devil here, he came out and called these fools what they are. Let's see how a lot of these buffoons are going to respond. Most of them are just avoiding this story altogether. I've noticed that. A lot of these conservative coons on social media that usually have so much to say, they're avoiding this story like their white wives avoid taking a bath. They're steering clear of this story altogether because they don't want even any type of light shined on what type of low life, no integrity, bootlicking slaves that they truly are. You folks let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I would love to hear your opinions on this story. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on a devil's back.